All right, hi everybody. Welcome to the 13th Perpetual Protocol Community Call. It's been a little while since we had a call, so it's great to have everybody with us. And we're really looking forward to this call and discussing with you something really exciting about our V2 launch, which is coming up pretty soon. So I'll start sharing slides here just a moment. Okay, so as you can see on the agenda, we will be discussing our plan to launch on Optimism, as well as plans regarding Arbitrum. Like, our plans for Arbitrum have not been, we're just sort of putting it aside for the short term. And next we'll move on to a Testnet competition prize update for everybody. And finally at the end, we'll have a Q&A where we'll take questions either in the YouTube chat, and we also have some questions from the Discord as well. So we'll get started, and I'll pass the microphone over to Yanwan for the first slide. So go ahead.
Sure. Just some background. So our V2, we start working on V2 actually, in May. So it's been actually almost like 5 months until now. And the code is ready, the audit. We have been through a 3 auditor, and the audit is ready. So we are actually ready to launch on Arbitrum. We picked Arbitrum before because we feel, they are, we like ETH ecosystem. We want to scale in the ETH ecosystem, and Arbitrum, offer a really awesome layer 2 solution. And they launched actually, last month. So it actually, quite exciting that we can be one of the first projects launching on Arbitrum. And we did a testnet trading competition several weeks ago, and then it actually worked quite well. We have more than 2,000 traders join us, and trading against each other. There is no major issue from the, on the protocol, on the protocol itself. But at the last day, we actually have some gas issue because we have more people coming in. They want to trade. But I think there is a gas per second limit that actually we hit that limit, and the gas price just, shoot up a lot. So we went back to the Arbitrum team. At first we feel that Arbitrum should be, it probably just a testnet issue. So it probably, on mainnet, it should be like a better bandwidth. It should be no problem. But double check with them, we actually found that the testnet stacking is the same as mainnet. So we have a little bit concerned because we know that Arbitrum should have the same bandwidth as at least like ETH mainnet. So we dig into, lots of different things. We, profile our transaction costs, and we found that because we utilize Uniswap V3, so it actually costs more layer 2 gas than, than a more general a transaction like Uniswap V2. So we, we back and forth with the Arbitrum team, found that they are not going, they are not, going to raise the gas limit right now because of different issue. And then they have, but they are definitely going to raise that limit when they introduce Nitron, their next release. It's actually scheduled next week, probably Q1. So we have to wait for until then. So it actually left us in a situation that if we launch, the gas might goes up because I mean we actually could our data from Perp 1, which is on a sky, and then try to calculate how much gas we need per day and then per hour per second. And then I think we will hit that limit. I mean, once we have more markets launch on the project. Okay, so that's the issue that we were facing. So I mean, we have lots of discussion within the team with some of the member from the community and also some of the investor, of course the Arbitron team, and then we make a decision that we want to delay the launch on Arbitron. We're not saying that we will not launch on Arbitron. I think that's the first thing I want to mention. We will launch on Arbitron in the future, but we just want to maybe try out Optimism first, which is not in our previous plan, but the team actually, I mean, give it a try on the Optimism, and then it actually works quite well, and then they don't have this gas limit. So it actually brings us to this tough decision that we might actually we make a decision that we are going to launch on Optimism first, and then Arbitron or other chains after. Yep. So to conclude that it's just a bandwidth issue that is a little bit unexpected from the team, and so we have to kind of delay the launch on Arbitron. Launching on Optimism, I think we don't have this gas limit issue, but of course Optimism has less TVL, at least for now. So it's younger, so it has less TVL. It has less projects launching on Optimism. So that's definitely creates some challenge to us. But hopefully, I mean, we can kind of bring more partners, and then they might be more projects joining Optimism, and then they can, there will be an ecosystem maybe in several weeks. So we can actually utilize the possibility, and also everyone can trade on Optimism that kind of enjoy the lower fees and then fast spot time on there. Yeah, so I think that's just a quick overview of the problem we have, and then why we want to switch to Optimism. Yeah, can you go to the next slide?
Sure. Just one thing before we go on, maybe
Sure.
I can add a little thing, which is after the testnet competition on Arbitrum, we also did a lot more testing, like stress testing on Arbitrum as well as Optimism. And in general, we found that Optimism was more, in its current form, is more up to the task of running Perpetual Protocol. So we have done a bunch of internal testing as well that supports this decision.
Yeah. Cool. So just want to mention that for Perp V2, we actually want to launch on, everyone knows that it's actually a multi-chain future. So we will definitely launch more than one chain. So it will not be just one chain only. So we will launch on Arbitron, after the natural launch. So probably next year sometime. And and our goal is that because we actually build on top of Uniswap V3, so right now we only can go to the chain that Uniswap V3 launch, but Uniswap V3 is also launching on more chains right now. So just several days ago, they created a vote to launch Uniswap V3 on Polygon. So once the votes pass and Uniswap deploy, we will definitely, looking into launching on Arbitron, launching on Polygon if we can. So I think that's our current kind of decision, and also how we are going to deploy in the future. Yeah. Yeah. Next slide.
I'll just add one more small thing. If anybody doesn't know what Nitro is a project currently in development by Arbitrum, which is basically an upgrade to their system, which will vastly increase the amount of transactions per second and the amount of gas per second that they can handle. So that's a major upgrade coming for Arbitrum, and it's looking really exciting. They don't have like a firm launch date at the moment, but it's expected sometime early next year.
Yep. So I mean, right now the team, I mean, we make this decision that we are going to launch on Optimism. So we're actually doing a lot of testing because we use like tools and also like other projects like Uniswap, like Chainlink. So I mean, we are doing the final testing right now, some internal testing. Hopefully, I mean, like we can finish it soon and then launch the protocol. I mean, as soon as possible. We do have like some like issues with Chainlink, because Chainlink doesn't have enough price fee on Optimism yet. But hopefully, I mean, like we can push them to like add more price fee, so we can actually launch more markets on Optimism. Anything to add, Lee?
Not this time.
Yeah, good. Cool.
Okay, so yeah, thanks a lot for that, Yeowon. And definitely, if anyone has any questions, just directly put them in the chat. We're happy to have any questions, or if you're watching the recording of this call afterwards, just come to our Discord or Telegram, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have. So just one last thing about Arbitrum and Optimism. Some people I noticed mentioning said they already moved some funds to Arbitrum in anticipation of our launch, and so we're sorry about that. However, there are some options opening up for bridging directly between Optimism and Arbitrum. One of them is hop.exchange. So hop and Synapse protocol is also building a bridge. Now, it's been noted that both of these bridges at the current time have pretty low liquidity. So if you're moving more than a pretty small amount of USDC, you will face some either hitting liquidity restrictions or slippage issues. So that is definitely something that can be improved. However, like bridge building is ongoing. There's other projects like probably O3 and some other ones that'll be coming online with this kind of bridge. And definitely as TVL and volumes pick up on these L2s, we'll see more and more bridges and more liquidity. So we're looking forward for that. All right, so that sort of wraps up our segment on Optimism. Definitely, if you have any questions, let us know. Put them right in the chat. We'll get to the Q&A in a minute. Another sort of hot topic that we always get and is related to our V2 launch is the prizes from the Testnet competition. So as everybody knows, each ticket that was won during the competition is worth a little over 19 perp, which is a fairly nice prize. And to claim, if you're not aware, to claim each ticket, you'll need to trade on the V2 when it launches, and you'll have to trade 2,500 in volume. So for this, we'll ask you to please, before you start trading, watch for the announcement. We'll have an announcement either around the launch or after the launch to let everybody know when we'll be ready to start trading. We're expecting to have sort of a short trial period for V2 to make sure everything is running well before we begin trading for the tickets. So look out for that announcement. And in the announcement, we'll also tell you maybe some tricks on how to get to 2,500 in volume. You won't necessarily need to transfer that amount of USDC over to do trading. Remember, it's leverage trading, so you'll be able to leverage your trades and use a smaller amount of money to get a larger volume. All right, so that pretty much wraps up what we have to say, and we'll want to open things up to questions. So I'll just stop sharing my screen here. All right. Okay, so we have a question from Daniel, one of our super OG community members. He's been with us for a long time, so it's great to see you here. See you here, Daniel. And the question is, how is the Uniswap pool fee removed or handled in Perpetual V2? So that's a great question. The simple answer is in the clearinghouse, we will compensate for that fee. So the clearinghouse is able to mint tokens in the pool. And so, there'll be like a reduction in the amount of tokens that's returned to the trader, and the clearinghouse will just mint additional tokens to compensate. Is that correct, Yowen?
Yes. Just want to make sure that we are on the same page, that the Uniswap pool fee mentioned here is actually the fees to the Uniswap protocol, not the fees to the LP, right? So if that's the case, Uniswap doesn't, collect that fee yet, but once they start, collecting those fees, protocol fees, yeah. And if that's the case, then just like we said, the Uniswap, the protocol itself will get our virtual token, which actually doesn't have any value, and then the protocol will mint more virtual token to compensate those fees. So that's how we are going to do.
All right, GM to Danny and everybody else. We have another question from Discord. Let's see. It says, how difficult is it to build on Arbitrum and then quickly switch to Optimism? So this is a really great question. And the question also asked, do audits need to be redone? So Tempo, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for us, I don't think we really change anything. There are some detail that's different from Arbitrum and also Optimism and also ETH mainnet. So timestamp is a little different, and so you have to be aware of that. But other than that, I think everything actually works quite well. There are some tools that are missing on Arbitrum. For example, like Tenderly. We use Tenderly a lot. A lot of developers use that, but it's not on Arbitrum yet. So that's one thing. On Optimism, there is no Gnosis multi-sig wallet. So a lot of time you want to actually store your private key into a multi-sig wallet. So the Optimism team provide another fork of that, but it's the old version of Gnosis wallet. So I just like small different, but I don't think you will need a lot of time to migrate from one to another. And also at the same time, I don't think the OD need to be redo. Yeah, it should be like the same. The auditor actually don't really care about which network you are on. I think they only look at the code. Yeah, hope this answers the question.
So if I'm not mistaken, for the smart contract code itself, basically there aren't any changes that need to be made between Arbitrum and Optimism. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't think we changed anything. Yeah, maybe just a small thing, but yeah, nothing big.
Okay, so actually the question has some further parts. The next question is, does this delay the launch of V2?
Yes. So we actually spent the past several weeks just trying out. So we don't really change anything, but we did a lot of tests because we don't know if we need to change anything. So the result is we don't change anything, but in order to verify that, we actually did a lot of tests. We run several internal tests or internal training computation. Before, within the past few weeks. So just want to make sure that everything works well. And, you have to stress test the API server, lots of different things. So I would definitely say that you have to spend time on testing So we did spend lots of time on testing. But besides that, I think, yeah, everything should be, I mean, it's kind of like 99% compatible, I think, between all the EVM compatible chains.
Yeah, so there are some definite delays. Like as most people probably know, Perpetual Protocol as a derivatives exchange, DEX, has a lot of moving parts compared to simpler platforms that are just like lending platforms or simple like spot swap platforms. So there's all kinds of different moving parts like oracles and some backend things that need to run to support the website. So all of these things need to be tweaked a little bit when you're moving from one chain to the other. But in terms of smart contracts, you're basically looking at the same. So there won't be there wasn't really any delay for that. It's mostly the tools that sort of surround the platform and help it to run. So that's about the end of that question. He's also asking, if it's going to cause a delay of several weeks or more. So basically, no, we don't expect really any like a really major delay. Yeah, we continue to anticipate our launch within the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. Just see if there's any more questions in the chat. All right, we do have another question from Daniel. And he says, since you mentioned that V1 won't be shut down, are there any updates on Dynamic K or L2 deployment plan for V1? I can say with some certainty that we don't plan on any L2 deployment for the V1. That's a great question though. But Dynamic K is definitely coming. Yenwon, do you want to comment on that?
We actually don't have a schedule on that yet. I mean, like, I think most of the time, most of our time are spent on the V2. So I probably have to think with the team, like, when is the best time to kind of update that. So I don't have an answer right now.
All right. The next question is from Danny. What happened to Perpetual platform on XDAI in the long term? So that's a great question. As far as I know, like the V1 will continue running on XDAI. XDAI also has some pretty interesting changes that are going on. I know that XDAI is working on Arbitrum on XDAI, for instance. I'm not sure what the roadmap is exactly on that, but it looks like they plan to launch Arbitrum rollup on XDAI, which is pretty interesting. In addition, there's some sort of talk about collaboration between Gnosis and XDAI. I'm not exactly sure what the status of that is, but it looks like it might go ahead. So again, that's sort of an interesting change. So we're keeping track of these changes. Like we really like the XDAI team. We've had a great experience running on them. And so we're definitely open to, a future deployment of V2 on XDAI if that's ever becomes possible. Of course, we rely on the presence of Uniswap V3. So, the sort of prerequisite is that Uniswap launches on XDAI or an XDAI L2. So if that happens, then yeah, we're open to discussing it. Yohan, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's perfect. Yeah.
Just see if there's any more questions. Just wait a few seconds here to see if there's any more questions. If not, I think we'll wrap it up. Like I always say, if you have questions or you're watching the recording of this call, definitely come to our Discord or Telegram. We're happy to answer any questions as best we can. Otherwise, keep an eye out for announcements. There should be some announcements pretty soon, and we'll keep everybody up to date on how the progress is going. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thanks to Danny, and thanks for everyone who joined. We look forward to talking to you again very soon, and we should have another call of some kind around the launch date itself, or just after. So yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody then. All right, goodbye for now. All right, we are offline.